We are live.
We are live.
And we are alive.
Yeah, there you go.
So there you go, y'all. We survived the emergency broadcast system alert on all of our cellular devices. And
by the skin of our teeth.
Barely, I think. I'm not sure. We could still be suffering from residual side effects.
Yeah.
But that
your stomach is hurting.
To be determined.
Too.
Yeah, I have a bellyache.
See, that's it.
Actually, I don't have a stomach ache, but normally I have no intestinal disturbance. And I have a very mild, like infinitesimally mild, since I'm so in tune
with your
my
body
digestive tract.
See,
but y'all don't want to hear about my digestive tract. No, we wanted to talk a little bit about this whole conspiratorious stuff. And, and I had some really good friends. Hey, are you turning your phone off or whatever?
Yeah.
And I said, hey, look, listen, they've been doing this emergency broadcast thing since like PBS days. And this is a test of the emergency broadcast system. This is only a test. If this weren't a test, these loud, annoying noises would be followed by whatever mindless, dumb propaganda we want you to think or whatever, right? So they've been doing this for a while. And I remember, and for those of us that, QAnon nonsense. Oh, it hurts my brain. So for those of us that have like an attention span and then have lived more than 30 or 40 years, are aware of how all this stuff goes down and has happened before and all this stuff. And the problem is this always gets leveraged against all of the conspiracy reality stuff that why doth the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing, right? It's because the kings and princes and they conspire together, and the principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness in high places, all these things, right? But every time there's this kind of opportunity, one, it's always a distraction, and two, it's done to make those that don't buy the official narrative, it's designed to make us look stupid, which is why you shouldn't participate. I'll give you another example. Stu Peters posted this picture, and it was supposed to be of a DEW weapon that was shot on Maui, and then people posted the original photo, and it was some kind of like rocket test. So it was a Photoshop deal, right? And this kind of stuff is just king of the interwebs,
echo chamber,
and the Tweeterverse. Yeah, and it's just designed for people to share, and then they get to make to be look stupid and all these different things. And that's what this whole emergency broadcast thing was. Very similar to India landing on the moon,
I actually didn't even know it was happening today.
And other fakery things. So
I literally didn't know it was happening today. And then I got the alert on my phone.
And for those of you that aren't in the know, there was literally like these weird benign videos of some like nerdy older guy telling you to crumple up literally tinfoil and put it around your phone as like a Faraday cage, and this was going to prevent the graphene, that this emergency alert thing was going to activate graphene in certain particular people's like immune systems and all kind of crazy, just nonsense. And now, does that mean that people don't have graphene in their system? No. Does that mean that graphene isn't controlled with electromagnetic activity and radio signals? No. So see, the way that they stir the stupid pot is...
And also, we are not doctors. And consult your doctor.
Not only are we not doctors, this is a comedy show.
That's very true.
So please laugh along with us. Please don't get your facts from us.
No, please don't.
The other...
Do your own research.
Yeah. The other reason why I wanted to bring this up is because this plays... hand in glove,
twist it a little bit,
with the interview I just did with Samantha Starkey about the missing kids in Maui. So if you haven't subscribed to the Fearless Podcast, y'all, what are you waiting for? Go subscribe to the Fearless Podcast, and also leave us a rating on wherever you listen, Spotify or whatever.
My personal goal for the podcast is to get 500 of y'all over there listening on a consistent basis.
That's a great goal.
That's a good goal for January. I want to be able to get 500 of y'all over there listening to every podcast on a roughly weekly basis. We're trying our hardest to get and pull in some incredible people. So it's not just me and Dad talking all the time, which those are good podcasts too, but just get some really good other people in on the show.
If I do say so myself, that some of the folks we've had on, like Chris Emery and Texas Slim, these are great people, incredible doing great things that are very well spoken, very well studied. And so speaking about my interview with Samantha Starkey, so she is an everyday normal person that lives in Louisiana with a husband, and they homestead. And she makes worm castings, and they're very skilled, and they know what they're doing. And she wants to educate people. She wants to encourage people. She wants to help people. She is just an everyday average person, right? And so she wanted to know what was going on with this whole Maui thing. So she raises the money, goes there and interviews people for 10 days, right? So she actually went. She didn't just spend time on 4chan
on her keyboard rage.
And she didn't she wasn't on some Q-tard, QAnon message board or whatever, and she went and she talked to real people.
She wasn't on our live stream spreading false information or whatever that they heard in the echo chamber either. She went out there and did it. And great. It's awesome.
Matt turned the comments off because he got tired of reading the retarded stuff.
It's just
but it was oh, I think she's been co-opted and compromised. And I'm like, dude, we have been, that's been said of us so many times.
Come on.
We're just a family. We try to grow our own food. We try to share. We try to encourage people. We try to share our opinions. We try to share our products. And if you're local, we try to share a grass-fed, grass-finished beef with y'all. That's all we're doing, right? And these are all just different attempts to communicate. At no time, fortunately and unfortunately, I haven't been offered enormous gobs of money to say or not say anything. Which is a good thing and a good thing, but it's very hilarious and humorous when these people get so conspiratarded that they're like, oh, you're not saying the government narrative, the right narrative, the left narrative, and you're not going full conspiratard. So you're not conspiratorial enough. So you must have been co-opted, and you're obviously COINTELPRO. And, it's just as complex. And look, I've talked about signature reduction.
Absolutely.
I've talked about all the,
50. Who were the people calling the FBI?
Well, right. And, and
those are the questions.
And how do we even know? We don't even know these air quotes people that are even making these comments on social media. We have no idea what their occupation is or what there's a very good chance, and we don't even know how many of these people are actual people and not just bots. So I take all of that into consideration,
big time grain of salt.
And I do know that there is mass formation psychosis. And I do know that in the last 3 years, people have been mentally abused. And those that were uninformed or misinformed put a dirty diaper on their face and breathed a lot of bacteria through it and could very well have brain stem meningitis or whatever. People have. And
still haven't taken them off.
Yeah, they muzzled themselves and they could have
permanently.
They could have literally made themselves retarded. And we have compassion on those people too,
absolutely.
And I have compassion on people that see all this conflicting information and they're like, oh no, what should I do? And, I had a very sweet, kind subscriber today, are you turning your phone off? And I was just like, no, because, and here's why. And I was like, now, if you do,
Nothing wrong
there
with
might be
that.
some wisdom in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm just not buying into the propaganda and the paranoia. This is the beauty of living in a rural environment, right? And being away from the megatropolis and the Babylonian high density populations, because when you're in those environments, you really don't have anything other or better to do than just surf the internet and go down every rabbit hole and go full conspiratard and all that stuff. Now, and research is great, and
Absolutely.
reading lots of books are great, and looking into things are great, and using logic, ration, and reason, the trivium, and the quadrivium, and going through a logical process is all excellent. But if you're out there doing stuff, real stuff, creating real things with your two hands, meeting and talking to real people, this is the beauty of what Samantha Starkey did. She flew thousands of miles. She talked to real people and she documented it.
Yeah.
And she's going to continue to share it. So to try to be like, I don't know about this chick. I think she's co-opted. I think she's a Fed. And it's just like, well, no, I don't.
No.
She has all of her information out there. They're going to be speaking at this Homestead conference.
Yeah.
Like they're on blast. And so it's not as conspiratorial as a lot of people think. And the reason they want to twist this conspiratorial cone so heavily is to honestly make us all look stupid. And that's why I refuse to participate in a lot of this stuff. And we'll cover real information.
Yeah.
And there is a conspiracy, and there is stuff like the World Economic Forum and ESG and DEI
100%.
and all the, they want to Baphomet our kids out and all these different things. Okay. These are all absolutely real. And there is Club of Rome. There is a Trilateral Commission. There's all of these people doing all of these things. And if someone just isn't as woke as you are or up to speed, like, I bet you had lunch with Oprah and all these just dumb, like trolling, like and just, ad hominem, just dumb stuff, man. We don't feed trolls, and like I have very little toleration for that, because like and some people are just learning about what's really happening, and some people are finally breaking free of the uniparty, the left, right, the red team, blue team, Pepsi Coke dialectic, but give people some grace and some mercy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And don't, the whole purpose of all of this is to create division. You know what I mean? They want, in a postmodern, post-truth world, right? That was Bilderborg's, the old Bilderborg, 2018. Their goal for 2018 was, operating in a post-truth world. And how does that work, right? How does that work? Well, how do you create post-truth? How do you finish off postmodernism? Everything's a lie, right? Everything's a lie. Yeah. Just like the fact that we supposedly live in this democratic republic, right? Yeah, that's not true. I mean, that hasn't been true since Lincoln, the great fascist Lincoln, the beacon of the Republican Party. So, there is all these things to take into consideration. And just because I'm not a Republican, if some Republican says something conservative that I agree with, but then like says, that's why Trump, whatever, well, I can agree with the part I agree with and
disagree.
Still think that Trump is, a total setup. He's the right wing of the bird. You know what I mean? That's all. And he's going to be just as fascist. It's going to be it's going to be a less bumpy ride, and it might, and
definitely
the road to hell might be, the speed limit might be 65 instead of 2,000 miles an hour, but it's going to the same place.
Yeah.
That's all. So.
Yeah, very true. The one crazy thing, we're going to get into actually some cool articles here real quick, y'all, so stay tuned. But one thing that I wanted to talk about today, right after we posted this morning's video, weird, goofy stuff started happening to the channel.
Really weird.
I went to go onto our YouTube channel. First of all, shortcuts on my Chrome browser were deleted and gone, still are deleted and gone. Then I went to go onto my YouTube channel. I was logged out, which is really strange and weird. Totally logged out of my YouTube channel. I logged back in, and then normally up in the right-hand corner will let me enter into my studio and into my channel, which is the Texas Boys channel. And it wouldn't let me. And it was acting like the channel was evaporated. And I started freaking out and everything like that. And then I was able to like shut down Chrome again and then reopen it back up. And then it was like, oh no, your channel's still here. Just like weird, goofy stuff that was definitely happening after posting the video. And then you said something goofy was going on with the video itself.
Yeah, there was,
for a little bit there.
There was the video immediately kind of took off and got like 300 or 400 views like within the first couple minutes. And usually that's like, oh wow, this is going to take off, right? And then I watched it go down all the way down to 1 view, and there was like 16 comments. It was so fascinating.
It said 16 comments.
Yeah,
because mine was only telling me 5.
Yeah, I know. And they are
That's
constantly jacking with the algos, and they're and they like to mess with us. And that's okay.
They love it. They just
they
jerk the wheel. That's what they do.
Yeah, but this all is kind of hand in glove, and it speaks one to the other. And while you want to stay informed and we want to be aware of what's going on, we have to keep our hands and feet in the dirt, and as Christians, we, some who was this said, pray for discernment up here. 1 second. Someone said, pray for discernment. Yeah, obviously. Fight for Freedom said, pray for discernment. That's a large part of it too. In a post-truth, postmodern world where history is rewritten in real times, and we tear down statues and memorials of the past so that we can say, well, that never happened.
Yeah.
This whole emergency broadcast thing, this is brand new, and this is going to activate the graphene and start the zombie apocalypse. Well, it didn't do that the last 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 times they did it. And, Trump had no nefarious purposes for it when he was doing it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's just, we can't feed the conspiratordia. Now, does that mean if you see something, there's so much? Okay. Yeah. What was it? It was Billy Bond on the Permaculture Pimpcast. He had mentioned a quote. Okay. This is William Casey. So this was the CIA director from his first staff meeting in 1981. We will know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false. So that's why this stuff is happening, y'all. And that's why when something happens, that's why there's always these conflicting reports. We just had Chris Emery on talking about the Oklahoma City bombing, right? And that was like my wake up thing when we were back when it was mainstream news and there was 3, 6, and 10. So it was ABC, NBC, and CBS, right? And we were watching that live coverage of the bombing, and I'm getting ready to go to bed. And I remember them saying on the live news feed, we found other explosive devices in the building. They're halting the search and rescue.
Yep.
And they need to get these things out, right? And I go to bed, and I get up the next day, go to college and everything. I come back, and I said to Mom and Dad, what did they say about these extra explosive devices that were all in the building? And I think the count was 75, y'all, not like 2 or 3. Okay. Nothing. The narrative had
Mm.
changed. No, it was Timothy McVeigh. It was Terry Nichols. It was,
Yep.
it was the Ryder truck, even though the crater doesn't match and there's no way that AMFO could create that kind of explosion and
No.
vaporize everything and all this stuff,
Yeah.
and then immediately 9/11 and everything,
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
but the other thing is, just like I was saying about the emergency broadcast thing, is graphene real? Yes. Is it bad? Yes. Are nanoparticles real? Yes.
Yes.
Can they be controlled by radio signals and EMFs and all these things? Yes. Right. So just because I don't believe some conspiratorial dumbness about the emergency broadcast system on your cell phone doesn't mean that I'm denying, it's exactly like this Ukraine and Russia thing. Like, well, because I don't support Ukraine and I think it's all like a gigantic wealth redistribution for the transnational global technocracy. So you think Putin's good? No, no. I think Putin's WEF. I think Ukraine's WEF. I think they're all WEF. I think they're all in on it. I think Xi Jinping is WEF. They're all WEF, dude. The Grand Theft world during 2020 with all the shenanigans, everybody lockstepped on that, dude. Everybody lockstep. There wasn't these like Orthodox Christians in Russia that stopped the thing, right? All the usual suspects did all the same things, all at the same time, everywhere. There weren't any like beacons of light and hope, right? And that's because we're Christians, y'all. And all of these power hungry scumbags are exactly what they are. And Kevin McCarthy may not be the Speaker of the House anymore, but nothing is going to change. That was not a victory. These people will be co-opted. Marjorie Taylor Greene is terrible. This other Jezebel woman, Bobar or whatever, she's absolutely terrible. And these buffoons are professing Christians. Now, they profess Christ and to be Christians to mock Christianity and to make us look stupid. That's why I don't like, these people are fake and they're all super Christian when they want to manipulate, just like Trump, 2 Corinthians, whole ball game, it's all that stuff. It's pandering. It's political pandering. It's absolutely nothing new. It's the same thing over and over again. And just don't be deceived by it, y'all, and, be the change. We're not going to vote our way out of this, right? You're not going to, we just need to vote in some good people. That whole part of the chessboard is absolutely rigged. You will not have the opportunity to get voted in. All right. Unless you are co-opted in a way that they can control you. I mean, just look at warp speed and all that stuff. Okay. And keep taking credit for all that stuff because it really makes you look great. Yeah. And that's all. So I'll stop ranting. But I thought that was very relevant with all of the wildness, y'all. And we're not on Facebook or Instagram anymore. We are on the Twitter. I don't know why, but I like being on some of those so we can still communicate with other people.
Yeah.
It is a means of communication.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. McCarthy made a backdoor with the Democrats. Yeah, I guess they're the uniparty. There's no backdoor deals. They're all the same dude. Yeah. It's just a different flavor. I mean, how many of these Republicards are going to continue to fund this Ukraine nonsense? And you can't look, you don't get to be like, oh, we didn't know there wasn't any weapons of mass destruction. Look what all the Republicards did to Iraq and Afghanistan and did all the bankers' biddings there, right? And then you don't get to pretend like none of that didn't happen. And then you support this proxy junk with the Ukraine and then, and we send $100 billion and then we don't have enough money to keep our own lights on, right? Oh, the government's going to shut. You know what? I was really afraid that the government was going to shut down. I didn't think for 0.2 of 1 millisecond that the district of criminals and the good old boy scumbag network was going to shut down for a
millisecond.
What's the tiniest measurement of time?
Less than a picosecond.
A picosecond. I didn't think they were going to shut down for a picosecond. And I shoot my aim on a picosecond. No, that's an inside family joke.
That is a very inside family joke.
Yeah, it's because they're the same. It's WWE. You know, they scream and holler on the floor at the District of Criminals, and then they go have a steak and drink a Bud Light together. That is absolutely what happens. And they're, you know, and the more nothing changes, the more nothing changes. And this is what's fascinating about this dialectic, right? We've seen these conservatives, right? When has the budget been cut in anybody's lifetime? When? Oh, I've seen the budget expand exponentially by trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions, regardless of red team, blue team. Oh, well, there was a crisis. There was a crisis. We had to do it again. You know, never let a good crisis go to waste.
Yeah.
And never let a good crisis hold you to any kind of ethical, foundational, fundamental talking point, right? Like, you know, tax and spend and all that stuff. No, just tax us into oblivion, spend us into oblivion, and don't worry when our great grandkids are mining for gold on Mars. They'll strike the mother lode and they'll finally be able to pay off the national debt to China. And that was the cue to push the China button.
China. So, China. 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 China.
China.
So, anywho.
So I wanted to talk about which article did you want to do first?
Let's do.
Let's
do the one with Canada.
There you go.
So check this out, y'all. Canada to create a registry for podcast providers. The first step towards censorship of all speech the government regime doesn't like. The Canadian government under Prime-Minister Jesse Trombone has established a registry for podcast providers in what appears to be the first step towards censorship. The announcement came in the form of the Online Streaming Act, which is set to take effect November 28th. Under the law, any online service that offers podcasts will soon have to register with the Canadian Radio, Television, and Telecommunications Commission, the CRTC, which is under the country's Department of Canadian Heritage. Any online streaming service that operates in Canada and generates revenue of more than $10 million in a given year must register, because they got to get paid, y'all. You're going to pay your registration fee and you'll fine. According to a September 29th press release by the commission, it is setting out which online streaming services need to provide information about their activities in Canada through a registration form. This form, which companies should accomplish by November 28th, collects basic information, is only required once, and can be completed in just a few steps. Don't worry, it won't hurt a bit. The press release also added that the CRTC is setting conditions for online streaming services to operate in Canada. To this end, it mandates these podcast providers to provide the CRTC with information related to their content and subscribership, and make content available in a way that is not tied to a specific mobile or internet service. This is so you can easily turn on and off the switch, y'all. This is how you stack the deck so that you are in total panopticon control. We are developing a modern broadcasting framework that can adapt to challenging circumstances. Yeah, probably like misinformation. And see, this is why this whole emergency broadcast thing, like, because now they can point back to it and say, let's look at all the idiots that told everybody that this emergency broadcast thing that was going to happen today. Well, it might happen today, and it might be at 1 o'clock, or it might happen by October 11th, and there's a 3-hour window on any of these given days and blah, 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 blah. You know, it's like every palm reader com man, you know what I mean? And it's so generic and basic, but it's going to create this zombie apocalypse, and all these people are going to be like some, you know, radio controlled, whatever. And then none of it happens. And then these technocrats can say, see, this is why we have to censor these people, you know, and you do have the right to be wrong, and you do have the right to be made to look stupid. And anyone reading your stupidity that has the right to be misinformed. You know, everybody, you know, you have to consider the source. You have to read for yourself. You have to look into it for yourself. Carpe diem, right? Buyer beware. This is all part of Austrian economics and everything else. You know, you have to be personally informed. Yo, look at our food infrastructure, right? Just drive to any medium-sized town of 80 to 100,000 people and look at the fast food after fast food after fast food after fast food, right? McDonald's, Burger King, Bubba's 33, all these like mega corporation burger joints, and this joint and that joint and this Mexican restaurant and that, and it's all super hyper processed. It's all ultra terrible. It's incredibly expensive, and the hordes flock.
Oh, they do.
There every day.
Chick-fil-A, all of them.
Chick-fil-A,
and
right?
The thing is that I've tried these places like a couple times over my lifetime, and I hear all of the rage, even about Chick-fil-A and different things like that. Or
you mean like a good rage?
Yeah, like a good rage. Yeah, like they're raging fans of the product, you know. And, you know, they go there all the time. Or Whataburger. I call them Whataburger because, and I try these things. Like I've tried them several times, and I hear people talking all great about them. I'm like, it's not really that good.
No,
like, y'all don't even know what real food tastes like, because real food tastes 8,000 times better than that. Like you don't even know. Like I'm eating this fake burger, and people are like, "Oh, dude, that's a great burger." I'm like, "No, it's not. That's a disgusting burger. You've never had a real burger then."
And it's psychotically expensive to keep you poor.
Stupid expensive
to keep you poor. This is a whole new paradigm in America. People didn't used to do this, y'all.
Yeah,
like people didn't like excessively and obsessively eat out. They certainly didn't do it 3 times a day. If anything, it was a luxury that you did once in a blue moon, once in a while.
Absolutely.
And you know why? Because you have zero control over how these meals, even if they appear to be wholesome, you have no idea where they source their materials from, how they're being processed, what kind of seed oils all this stuff is being doused and fried in, and everything else. You have no means of even remotely knowing, or what kind of people are touching it with what, with and without gloves, and slime and snot and bodily fluid and everything else, y'all. And I just can't get over the fact that people will just, and this keeps them poor. When you go to work, right, and you clock in and clock out, and you do your Johnny 9 to 5 or whatever, and then you clock out at lunchtime, and you go to whatever death trap that you're going to get your greasy whatever at, your greasy spoon deal, whatever, and you're going to drop, y'all, I work with guys, they'll drop 20 to 30 bucks on lunch. And they're morbidly obese, they're deathly ill, right? And they're financially broke because they're fiscally retarded, because they're dropping 30 bucks to poison themselves
every day.
Poison them. People will overspend to poison themselves. We're not even talking about like poisonous content that you allow into your brain. We're talking about being so completely ignorant and uneducated on the stuff you're stuffing into your face, because you have this chemical addiction to this industrialized food system that you cannot stop. This is why we encourage people to try carnivore, because you can break your food addiction, right?
Yeah.
and then maybe you'll heal, and maybe you'll save a little bit of money, and you can get out of debt. Oh, I can't buy a piece of property because, I spend $30 at McDonald's every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
And I buy a coffee. I can't get over these people that buy coffees every day, y'all, multiple times a day. Average Joe people that barely make more than 20 or $30 an hour, and they'll spend $6 to $8 a pop on a cup of coffee, and they might do it 2 or 3 times.
That's really cheap. If you go to stinking Starbucks, you're close to almost $20 when you leave there after you tip the people there.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Which the tipping makes no sense. Like, you're at these fast food joints, right? You're paying through the wazoo, right? And then they're like, "Oh, would you like the tip?" I'm like, "No, you're getting paid $20 an hour here. Like you need a tip." Like,
and the thing about Morgan
like,
Spurlock is he is
man,
kind of like a ultra liberal shill, and he actually misrepresented that whole thing. So that's interesting. There's lots of interesting stuff on Morgan Spurlock, and that speaks to different documentaries and understanding the source and all these different things. But yeah, I mean, he did demonstrate that you can buy McDonald's French fries and you can set them out on a counter and leave them for years, and they will not mold you.
No way. He made a video about that?
I think it's in Super Size Me. I know several people have documented the fact that, all of these, because it's the seed oils that these quote unquote potatoes are fried in.
And all of this stuff, y'all, all of the fast food has not been tested. Like, this is just in the last couple decades, this whole fast food thing has been popping up too. So we don't even know the ramifications of it all either.
Yeah. Abigail said her husband prefers to eat at home. It's safer. It's healthier.
And it tastes better.
Cheaper.
It tastes better. A million times over.
It feeds you. It's nutritional.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not magically delicious, y'all, but it is good for what ails you.
Yeah.
And so, all of this, all this topic is all interrelated, and that's why they're going to establish this podcast registry. And so then they're going to have this registry, and they're going to be like, okay, so how many of these podcasters told all their listeners that with this emergency broadcast thing, that graphene was going to activate the zombie apocalypse? But don't worry, the white hats in the Guberment that saved all the kids from Lahaina, and all the kids are safe. Don't worry, they're working on a serum to reverse nanographene and all this stuff, And then they're like, okay, let's take all them down. Oh, and while we're taking them down, we'll take down a bunch of good people that actually have common sense and share real facts about stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But that's how this game is played. The CRTC statement clarified, however, that only social media companies and online streaming platforms must register, not individual users. Online services that provide video game services or audiobooks are exempt from the registration requirements. Oh, good. Don't bother the vidiots, the video gamers. No.
Wonder if you can now just identify as a gamer.
Probably.
There you go.
A list of registered services will be published on the agency website.
So it's the streamers or the pod players' responsibility now to sign up for them, or
no? It's the streaming. It's the service. It's the streaming service.
That's what I mean. The service, right?
Yeah. But right. So okay. So these are the podcasters streaming on my thing. Okay. What's their information? Bang. So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just the individual podcasters don't have to register. No, you just have to do that when you sign up for your podcast.
You're using them. Yeah, exactly.
Online Streaming Act could shut down content producers. The CRTC now wants to regulate podcasters, wrote Brian Lilly of the Toronto Sun. Here is my simple message to them. Go to HE double hockey stick. Nice. Lilly expounded on his opposition to the Online Streaming Act in an op-ed warning that the new law could shut down some content producers. He continued, the players making more than 10 million per year are the platforms that content producers like me and millions of others rely on to get our message out to the public. Saying you won't regulate an individual podcaster, just the platforms they stream on, is like saying you won't regulate individual drivers, just the highways they drive on. Awesome analogy. The result is the same. Any rules imposed by the CRTC on the streaming service will in turn apply to the producers who use those services. The co-founder of Rebel News also denounced the CRTC as an aging relic, unable to understand the changing dynamics of traditional broadcasting. He continued that the agency is a body that doesn't understand the online world and shouldn't be in charge of regulating it in any way. And from my experience, all regulation ever does is hurt and harm people. And all regulation does is destroy the truth, right? It's just like all this USDA and the FDA and all these regulators and regulations. Yep. It's all about to make the transnational corporations bigger and more monolithic, and to soften and muzzle the individual, because very much what the internet did at one point in time was decentralize everything, and now they're putting Osiris back together again and getting the band back together and creating this monolithic panopticon of total and complete tyrannical control. And that's what's going on. So this registry speaks to the fact of just don't consider your information, consider the source before you share it, and don't buy into the tinfoil conspiratorious stuff. You know what I mean? Like, just think about stuff. Yeah.
Rationally, logically, use some common sense.
Who, what, when, where, how, why, all that stuff that they used to teach people how to think.
Use your
key
senses.
bono, who benefits, what's this all about? Who benefits from this?
Yeah.
On a lighter note,
much lighter and funnier note. This is hilarious.
On cryptagon.com. This is a little brief blurb, but I found it immensely hilarious. Switzerland. So just so you know, you can take the word Switzerland and replace it with like California or New York City or whatever. Fill in here.
Pretty much.
Fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Switzerland, emergency plan to deal with energy shortages this winter. Ban the use of electric cars for, air quotes, non-essential journeys. So I don't know if y'all remember way back, like 2 or 3 years ago, like way back then in ancient history, when we had essential and non-essential workers and how all that. I forget what that did.
Can't remember.
But so now they're going to ban the use of electric cars, and since they're electric and they're all controlled by remote control and they can turn them off with the flick of an AI widget or whatever, they're going to ban non-essential journeys. Switzerland will ban the use of electric cars for non-essential journeys if the country runs out of energy this winter, the government has announced. So if the technocratic retards that you supposedly elected to run everything and regulate everything, so the regulators that can't run basic projections and can't project power usage or power generation, even though we've been doing this for a really long time, y'all. We've had electricity for a very, very, very long time. Early 1900s. Technically much earlier than that, but I mean on a mass scale, for lack of a better word, 1910, right? Like, and so we've been doing this, and then we might run out, but I got an idea. If we do run out, we just won't let people charge these EVs that we've mandated that everybody get. to save the
Mm,
planet. And
wow.
the reason we're going to run out of power is because we're using all this renewable energy that isn't renewable and doesn't really produce energy. So the way we're going to counter attack the attack of the green agenda, the consequences of the green agenda, is we're just not going to let you plug in your car. But if you can't charge your car with renewable energy, how will you ever save the planet? Like if you just stay home and don't go anywhere or don't do anything, well, they'll send you your UBI. So don't worry.
That's true.
And
That's true.
emergency plans drawn up in the event the Swiss are hit by blackouts also call for shop opening hours to be reduced. Once again, how do you fix all this non-productive greenwash waste? You take productive people and productive things and you just make them non-productive. And don't worry, there won't be any, fiscal financial ramifications, right?
No.
And your tax revenues won't go down because people aren't working and people aren't buying things and people aren't selling things, and the sales tax won't go down. Don't worry. There won't be there won't be a tsunami of unintended consequences that they already know that these unintended consequences are absolutely intended. Just like when they locked down America and then all the conservative capitalists, we didn't realize it was going to blow up the everything and destroy everything and jack everything up. So now we need trillions of more dollars and we need to raise the debt ceiling again. And what do you know? The beat goes on. So they're going to, close businesses down, heating systems and nightclubs will be turned off, and other buildings to be heated to no more than 20 degrees Celsius. So
whatever that is.
Yeah, whatever that is. Crisis measures could see streaming services and game consoles banned. See, so there is a silver lining.
There always is, yeah.
Christmas lights turned off.
Yes.
And all sports ball stadiums and leisure facilities closed. So there you go. So if you want to worship Mother Earth, you're going to have to pay with your bread and your circuses. All right. So there you go. So that's the moral of the story there. Very interesting. Fun facts. The green agenda and the greenwash continues to be an super gigantic scam, ripoff, wealth redistribution, and purposely set up to make us non-productive because they hate entrepreneurial, independent people that are productive and produce, and they absolutely hate it. And that's why they want us to all merge with the Borg, y'all. That's why they want us on UBI, and that's why they want to extract and remove even our ability to be entrepreneurial. And that's why they want to destroy the Western society and culture, because it has been a beacon of free enterprise. And I realize it's been co-opted, public-private partnerships, hand in hand with the old Pope public-private partnerships, all working together to take your money and give it to the transnational corporations and the banking cartel, the international banking cartel. So all very interesting and fun facts. And for anybody that's still considering an EV, and I realize they're going to force us into this funnel, y'all. So, yeah. But you would rocks in the head. That's all I think of. But it's a setup.
It really is a setup.
But it's and I realize this technocratic control grid continues to creep in on us.
I mean, I would just say, just from the perspective of not being able to repair your own vehicle is a big reason why I would not own an EV, because I like how they like to make it sound like EVs will never break down and they'll never break and they're just perfect for infinity and beyond, but they're not. They're a vehicle. And at least with normal gas powered or diesel powered or petrol powered vehicles, you can fix them to some extent by yourself or with a mechanic friend or something like that. But with these stupid new EVs, you need, you need these fancy electricians and mechanics and everything like that.
Ed, feel free to call in right now.
There you go.
888-441-6739. 888-441-6739.
Is that actually really a number that he could call in?
I don't know. Let me know, Ed. Let me know if that number works.
Oh, man.
So, Matt, are there any other anything else you wanted to share? Any wisdom you wanted to impart? Does anybody out there, if you have a question, if you want to put it in all caps?
We actually hit 93 people on the show for a second.
Yeah, we got like 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
So we are willing to take your questions for the next 10 minutes. Please put it in all caps so I can tell who's asking a question.
Yeah.
Versus
I'll give you all some homestead update right now. We're actually getting a lot of rain. Praise the Lord. Lots and lots and lots of rain. So that's been doing really, really good. Mom and the boys went out and they did a pork drop off this week along with me and the boys. We did a beef drop off this week for our local pickup for our local grass-fed beef. So that was really exciting. And it's always so cool meeting y'all and just getting to see the people behind the screen. Also, remember in 16 more days, Mountain Readiness, we are going to be there. And that's North Carolina. And
Hickory, North Carolina.
Hickory, North Carolina. We are going to be there. So if you are anywhere close to there, we'll stop by. Would love to see y'all, chat with y'all. I'm actually going to be doing my first ever public speaking event. So we'll see. So I've been writing up a speech or whatever. So, and I'm already invited if I don't get kicked out or locked up in prison in North Carolina after I do my speech. I might, hopefully, I'm praying that there won't be any blue-haired people there because they might come up, they might run up on stage and like strangle me or something like that.
I sincerely doubt it.
I hope not. So, but I'm excited to actually go to North Carolina, and I'm actually old enough to remember this trip. So that's actually nice.
So there you go. That's the update. Any questions, y'all? If there's no questions, we'll sign off.
Do you think they will make America money go digital like they are trying?
Oh yeah. I mean, they're
here in Britain.
They're doing everything 100%. With the central bank digital currency.
Definitely.
It is a matter of time. This is why we encourage people to work within their community to develop a parallel system.
Thanks, Wilmer.
Trade, barter, what have you. We do recommend gold and silver just as a trade currency. I always recommend silver. If you're looking for silver, the rates are awesome now. It's a great time to buy. You can call Stacey, let her know the Texas Boys sent you, but Stacey's number is down below in the show notes. They are a sponsor of the channel, and these are awesome friends of ours. We purchased from them. They are our friends. I've met them. I've shook their hands. These are awesome people, and they're incredibly reasonably priced, and they're just awesome salt of the earth people, and they're right over the border in Louisiana, and I love them, and they're good people. So so since we know that they're doing that,
do you think it will crash?
No clue. I've been saying
it is
since the last crash.
Yeah,
I was I was
so tricky
in financial planning for 11 years. I watched the dot-com bomb crash 99. I watched 08 crash, and I watched the meteoric rise and just said, this can't continue to happen. And then poof, and then it just didn't. That's why. And I haven't been in the stocks and in the bonds. I haven't been under the bondages of the stocks since 2008. And anyone that thinks that they can dance with the devil and play in that little thing, you're going to get the throat punch of a lifetime when this thing it
Craps
unleashes
the bed.
its bowels on the top sheet. Yeah. Or craps the bed, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
I was trying to say it in a more poetic, romantic way,
Mm.
but Matt's just much more straight to the point.
Straight to the point.
I practice parrhesia, and I want to say it well to not upset anyone of a
boy.
delicate persuasion.
That's
But,
true.
what about the Ezekiel 38 war? Eschatology. We should have an eschatological live stream event. I know that's been asked for many times, but that would be a great conversation. Oh, Abigail's in Scotland. Oh man, I've always wanted to go to Ireland and Scotland. That's my peoples over there.
Is it raining over there?
Usually
Or cloudy? It's normally rainy and cloudy. It's very rare when it's sunny, but when it's sunny, it's beautiful over there. Beautiful.
Go gold panning. Yeah, there you go. Go gold panning is a good one.
That would definitely be the one thing if I lived in Alaska. You'd always find me out there panning for gold. That's the one thing I would do.
All right, y'all. Well,
I think that's it.
I say if that's it, we're gonna sign off. I think the rest of the
rest of the
is
family just
home.
got back home.
So we're gonna go say hi to them, and thank y'all for it is raining in Houston. Great, yeah, we're
Praise the
getting some
Lord.
showers of blessing
That's
here.
great.
And the food 401k is loving it. It was just stuff was just starting to wilt, and I had to hand water stuff. And keep an eye out for the food farce in a box. It should be coming in October. So keep an eye out on the website.
Go check out the Fearless podcast. We are on all of the pod players, and it's the Fearless podcast.
Leave a review, please.
Yeah.
And share it with your friends
and family.
And
it is a family friendly show too.
It's family friendly.
Yep.
And we desire to keep it that way.
Yep.
And we love y'all, and y'all have a beautiful, wonderful night.
All right. See y'all later. Bye-bye.